I all the time find these bookmarks, and I don't remember that I even put them in there. So that's fun. Good morning, readers. Welcome back to my channel, Books, Ink, and Paper. I'm Lori, and today we're back with a Throwback Thursday video. I try to do these, I don't get them done monthly, but I did pretty well last year, so we'll see how I do this year. Today's Throwback Thursday is courtesy of an accidental journal that I picked up from years ago when I was decluttering some things, and discovered that in the month of January I was reading the first book I'd ever read by this author, which was in 1994, I think. If I remember right, it was a long time ago, and the author is Patricia Cornwell, and the book was Postmortem. It was probably a solid foray for me into psychological thrillers, into really seeking them out in a more intentional way. I had read Thomas Harris by then, and I had read some others that I really, really loved. Patricia Cornwell's Postmortem novel satisfied me as much as Thomas Harris did, because I've always sort of had this fascination about serial killers. And the novel, while very graphic and not for everyone, was right up my street. I loved it. And so for a long time, I read almost everything she put out in order and collected them too. And then lost a few in a storm, and so now I'm just kind of slowly collecting the ones that I haven't read again, but I haven't read her in a long time. So I thought, when I saw this journal entry, I thought, why are you not reading any more Patricia Cornwell? And I don't know the answer to that. So maybe 2020 is the year. So Patricia Cornwell fascinates me because she was a computer analyst in a forensic science morgue type situation, as I recall, or crime lab. And she did this kind of work for a living for a while, and then suddenly wrote her first novel called Postmortem, which was off to a bit of a slow start. I remember she said that she went to a book signing on her lunch hour, and there was like nobody there. And one lady asked her a question, and it was, where can I find the cookbook section? So it was a bit of a disappointing start, but now she has won so many awards: the Sherlock Award, the Edgar, the Creasy, the Anthony, and the Macavity Awards, the French Prix de Roman d'Aventure in a single year, and the Gold Dagger Award for the Best Crime Novel of 1993. Yeah, she's no slouch. So you can look, and I'll link it in the comments below. There's a list of her novels in order that you can look at online, which is helpful if you want to start at the beginning, if you haven't begun, or if you've, like me, kind of got lost in the where you are and you need to take a look at that again too. The first one, Postmortem, came out in 1990. The most recent one, Quantum, came out in 2019. And then in 2020, she will have another new release called Spin, which is actually a Captain Chase book. So both Quantum and Spin are a new character, Captain Chase, and those came out last year and this year. So it's possible that she stopped writing about Kay Scarpetta. I don't know, because I haven't caught up. But I have acquired at a book fair the last few years a couple that I think are the next ones for me to read. So I'm pretty sure that I stopped reading at The Last Precinct. That's what I recall anyway. And it's been a long time, but I can't go back and start again. There's just too many. So the next one after The Last Precinct is Blowfly, which I did get. It's a great copy at the library book sale. The library book sales are fantastic. And look, I must have intended to, or started, I had to have started reading this because I have a homemade bookmark. It's one of my, can you see it? It's one of my homemade bookmarks from years ago. Very bright, colorful bookmark for such a dark black book. The next one after that is Trace. So I have a couple in order that I can get to. The one after that is Predator. So I was doing pretty well. I may have found all three of these at the same book fair. I can't remember, but they may have been like in order. And I said, yes, give me that. And then I skipped way ahead to the Scarpetta Factor, which is like 4 or 5 or 6 after Predator. And then on my Kindle, I have Flesh and Blood, which came out in 2014. That was on sale one day. So Blowfly was 03, Trace was 04, Predator was 05, and the Scarpetta Factor was 09, so 4 years later. So I skipped a few years. She does typically come out with a book a year. Pretty prolific writer. Millions of copies, hundreds of millions of copies of her books have been sold in multiple languages. So you might already be a fan of Patricia Cornwell. I don't know, because a lot of people are. We also read The Portrait of a Killer, the story of Jack the Ripper, and that came out in 02. And we read that on the way to Florida as a family in the car. So my youngest would have been 14. So it wasn't horrible for her. It was pretty graphic. There were times where we were a little uncomfortable, but my kids are pretty tough. They're like me. They've read pretty gruesome things at an early age. So I think they did okay. It probably wasn't Sarah's cup of tea, but she probably slept through it. So we did enjoy that work of nonfiction, and she has a few other nonfiction works. I think there's another one about Jack the Ripper, actually. She even has a cookbook. She just has a lot of interesting departures from this particular series and this particular character. There's probably something for everybody, but again, for me, the forensic investigation, the quality of storytelling, the suspense has always been high for me. I like the characters. I don't always like what she's chosen to do with them, but I like the characters a lot. And I think it's time for me to read another one. I think it's time for me to start with Blowfly. So stay tuned. That will be a backlist read for me because it's been on my shelf for a while. And I don't know when I'm going to pop it into the TBR, but I feel like it's going to happen. I look at these. So every day when I journal, I look at my bookshelves and I see what's in them. And when I'm not looking down and journaling, I look up and I just kind of look at my books, and they're all like my little, paper children. And some days something hits my eye and I think, oh yeah, I'm going to reread that soon. And some days something hits my eye and I think, oh, you need to get to that. And today, when I had a whole different TBT planned for this month, but today I decided this was calling me. It was no accident that I found that journal entry and then that I looked up and saw these 4 novels stacked together. Thanks for joining me. Let me know what throwback series or authors you're thinking about reading this year. And as always, happy reading. Bye.